In the One-Eyed Giant's Cave by Omar, Kelly, Ezra, Olivia, and Lindsay.
I saw a black trim ship anchored in our master's father's land from our daily grazing spot. I paid no heed, for I knew that my master would soon become aware of their presence and punish them with death. So I continued with my grazing on the luscious green grass in my homeland, surrounded by my minuscule brothers, sisters, and children. They entered my master's mansion, and I saw them start eating the cheese like they owned the place. My master whistles to us for about after an hour. We trotted back to the cave, and our master started the daily routine of milking my mates. He lumbered inside after gathering wood, and started to make a blazing fire, warm to my fur, yet a surprise to his eye. He saw the cowardly, lowly creatures, and bellowed so loudly my ears started to hurt. The smallest of the men demanded my master for a gift. Astonished, I could not believe this man would demand for a gift after he raided my master's mansion and ate his food. I idly stayed in my pen while my master found the men, snatched two, and ate them whole. It was quite disgusting, because he slammed them against the floor, and their innards splattered everywhere. He proceeded to reach down with his bloody, crimson hands and thrusted them into his giant mouth. He is so strong. This was a very uneventful night, and I fell asleep as my master finished his meal. Before I slept, I smirked as I saw those men cowering in the corner of the cave. I awoke to my master's heavy footsteps and bleated at the sight of him. He milked my family and finished with many buckets. Half of their sweet milk set aside to make cheese, and the other half put in jars. He snatched two more men from their pitiful hiding place and ate them as if they were small as wisps. He walked out with a small leg hanging out of his mouth, and he gulped it whole. I followed him to my delicious grass and stayed there all day munching on the food that I believed compared to that of the gods. After a day's worth of grazing, we returned to the cave. My master heaved the heavy stone aside, and I could see his massive muscles rippling in the sunlight, revealing the inside of the cave. I was put back into my pen, and I saw a small, squatty man give my master a taste of his purple liquid. To my delight, the master thoroughly enjoyed it and demanded for more. The man wisely obeyed and proceeded to give him 3 more bowls filled with it. My master, staggering, yelled at the men and told them he would never let them go, and that the small man's gift would be a delayed death. He asked the squat toad of a man for his name, and he replied with, "Nobody." He fell to the floor with a thud. To my surprise, I saw the small men walk over to the fire and thrust my master's weapon that was now very sharp into it. Their eyes gleaming, the squat man ordered his men to carry the weapon with him towards my master. They hoisted the olive stick up and jammed it into my master's eye, and twisted the olive branch. Blood was skirting out as the milk from my family's udders, and it gushed everywhere. The crimson blood traveled quickly, and soon the massive pool reached my hooves, and I bleeded. This added to the sound of my master's loud scream. He called for the other giants, and they lumbered over to his help. They demanded what was wrong, and he blamed nobody for it. The clever little man set a trap, and my master fell for this. They warned him that you cannot escape nobody, and said it was the work of Zeus. I bleated with sadness for my master as the other giants left him. He walked over to the opening of the cave and placed his massive hands lightly on me, and my fellow sheep, so as not to let the pitiful men escape on our backs. However, my master, in all his blindness, could not see that the men would plot against him. The squat man assigned 2 sheep for his men to hide between. He himself clung onto my majestic fluffy wool and waited until it was time for our grazing. We walked out onto the grassy fields. The grass now slumped with my sadness. I was helpless as the man clung onto me, and I slowly dragged my feet onwards. My master followed me and questioned me about my slow pace. He presumed that I was getting old, and he proceeded to tell me that how he would slaughter the men if he could just see them. I wish I could tell him, but he would never understand my words. The men let go and led us towards their ship. As my captors and I sailed away, the men jeered and taunted my master. The toad screamed out his name as if to glorify himself for blinding a poor giant. The men picked me, of course, the most majestic of rams, to Odysseus. He took me, and I watched as a huge sword came towards my neck.